What is going on, Outlaws? Death here, and today we're going to be breaking down my favorite tips for the Moonshiner role. I want to make sure everyone is taking advantage of this role as best as they can. Some of these tips might be very basic for you professional moonshiners, but for others, you might have not heard of some of these things. Without further ado, let's get right on to it. The first tip I want to talk about has to do with making your moonshine. As we know, we need multiple ingredients to actually make our moonshine. There's many different flavors of moonshine. So where do we get these ingredients? In the handheld catalog. This is the best place for you to get them. You'll go to provisions, and here you will find canned food, fresh food, dry goods, and you will get everything you need here. As you can see, you have apples, you have peaches, and these are fresh. You can also get these items canned, which is very good. So you can just stock up on these things, order a whole bunch, and you'll be pretty much good to go. You will find both canned and fresh fruit right here. So this is probably the best thing to do. Just pick everything up, and the next thing is picking them up at Madame Nazar. Now, as I just told you, you can get most, if not all, of your fruits and vegetables in the catalog. But when it comes to Madame Nazar, she will sell you the herbs. You will need a whole bunch of herbs to actually craft your moonshine, and she will sell them for $1 each. Very, very cheap considering how much moonshine gives you once you have it maxed out. Now, you can max out all your inventory fairly cheap and you'll be ready to go. The next tip has to be with location. That's the most basic one, and even though it's always, I mean always, up to personal preference, it's all about what you like, there are certain moonshine shacks that actually have a much better location to them. One of them is the one located in the heartlands. Why? The roads are very wide, the terrain is very flat, and overall it's very, very centralized, as well as you can see, our scenery is beautiful. The next one, even though it's pretty much butt ugly, I would say is the most profitable of the moonshiner shacks, and that is the one in the Bayou in Lemoyne. Why? You're right in the middle of Saint Denis, right in the middle of roads. You have all these natural resources all around you. You have a whole bunch of animals. You can fish. You can place your camp very, very close. And there's so many plants and flowers in here. I mean, it might not be the most luxurious or even nicest looking of the shacks, but when it comes to actual usability, this is by far the best one. The next tip is something very basic. When you actually take the bootlegger missions, you will reduce the price of your mash. This is very important because that thing can go very high. It can go up to $60, and if you do your bootlegger missions, you can bring it down all the way to $10. So I highly advise you always do the bootlegger missions when they're available. On top of the fact that you get experience, you get money, so why not? As you can see right here, mash ingredients cost reduced. Very, very nice to do before you put a batch to make. The next one is very obvious, but I still think that everybody should know it. You have to buy the upgrades for your moonshiner role. Now, you're going to want to come to Maggie, and here she will have business upgrades. You will have two, and this is very important because you do need to buy both of them. Even if you're already level 10 because you just did it in one go with your buddies, you will still have to buy the level 5 one and the level 10 one. The level 5 will run you $825, and once you reach rank 10, you will have to spend another $875. So it's pretty expensive to get both of these, but it's worth it because you get so much money back in return when you actually know how to do the moonshiner role. So I highly advise go out and pimp your stuff out. The next one is something that a lot of you might not have in mind. What are you trying to do when it comes to your moonshiner business? Are you trying to get a lot of experience, or are you going for money? Are you trying to get to level 20 as fast as possible, or are you trying to get rich with it? Well, the tip I'm trying to give you is if you're trying to get experience, always craft weak moonshine. You will be able to produce it a lot faster, meaning more missions, meaning more experience. But if you're trying to get money, you will always want to make strong moonshine. It will give you tons of money, and even though you do gotta wait a lot longer, the profit is much, much higher. The next tip is something you might not know. Once you're making a delivery, if you aim your gun and leave, the aiming button pressed, your horses will automatically drive to wherever it is you gotta go. Now, I don't advise you look to the side as I'm doing here, but I'm just trying to show you how I'm not controlling the car, and it's pretty much just going by itself no matter what I do. This is very, very useful because a lot of times sharp turns and bumps can kill us and mess up our moonshine. That's another tip. You gotta make sure you watch out for bumps, cracks, even train tracks on the road, and slow down. So even though this tip is very useful, always look forward and always watch out for the road. The next tip is something you might not know. When you're making a moonshine delivery and you're faced with a roadblock, you actually have three options. One, they will allow you to pass without any problem, as you can see right here. Two, they will tell you to stop, but they might not be looking for moonshine, so you'll still be able to go. Or three, they will stop you, and before they even search you, you will hear that they're looking for moonshine, and this is where things are gonna go down. So you don't necessarily have to shoot, and you will not have people following you on horseback if you do not engage with the roadblock if it's not necessary. Now, that's pretty much everything I wanted to share with you. They're very quick but very useful tips when it comes to the moonshiner role. If you have any questions, if I didn't, cover anything, let me know in the comment section below. For now, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, hit that notifications bell to stay up to date every time I post a video, and your boy Deathgun out.